how I made $200,000 in 1 month with almost zero chance of making a loss. And I even posted a step-by-step guide on how to do it. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about some of these trades that come up with a very, very small chance of losing, maybe 1%, 2% chance, with so much upside potential. As you can see here, I made hundreds of thousands in a month's time. And I even put when I was taking profits, okay? So I said 100K up in 4 days, take profits at 100K. What happened? Bitcoin went just over 100K, okay? So I'm going to talk about why I was so confident in this play, when I think it's going to happen again, what I did, the reasons I did it, because I think there's going to be another occasion come up. They're very rare, okay, guys? They're very rare. This is why I took these trades, and why I was making so much noise about them, is because they don't come up very often. There was one time last cycle when I took that trade too, when Elon Musk bought $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. I went long on 50x with a lot of money, because when billions of dollars are flowing into a token, the value's going to go up, right? The exchanges don't have enough money to counteract the flows, so they literally can't liquidate you. They can't push the price down fast enough because there's too much money coming in. Okay, they do it later, which I'll talk about, but at the time when it happens, it's very hard for them to fight. So there's people actually who only trade these specific moments, and I understand why, okay? I understand why. Instead of trading throughout the year, they wait for a really solid moment in, maybe it's macro news, maybe Michael Saylor sells his crypto. The market's going to crash when Saylor sells any crypto. That's what the trade they would wait for, right? Okay, so let's talk about this trade. What was the situation? Okay, so very simple trade. Trump wins, market will pump. Okay, so President Trump has been very pro on Bitcoin. Kamala and the extreme left have been very bearish on cryptocurrency. We knew that the price was going to pump or dump depending on who won. Okay, so clearly I've put here, Kamala wins, market will dump, alts and BTC very easy shorts. If Trump wins, market will pump, alts and BTC very easy longs. Okay, so very simple trade. We've got two solutions here. If one person wins, we go short. If the other person wins, we go long. It's a very, very easy trade. And we had a massive run up to this. We knew when the day was going to be. We could set up, we could get ready to take the trade. It was a no-brainer, okay? Very, very lucky to be in that position. So I've done a walkthrough guide about how to do it. So please note, this will not be a trade where you can waltz in an hour after the decision, because the price is going to move very fast. Okay, so what happened after the decision, guys? Absolute rocket ship to the upside. Okay, so this is why you have to be, as soon as the news is coming in, ideally you want to take the trade before the news come in. We did take the trade before the news come in. We were watching it live, and we were looking at all the states. Okay, so we was looking, okay, this state's won. Okay, so now Kamala needs to win 2 more states to even have a chance of winning. Okay, now Kamala needs to win these 3 or 4 states before she's even got a chance of winning. The odds of her winning those states are dropping significantly. She now has an 80% chance of losing. Okay, I'm going to enter the trade, okay, because it's very unlikely that she's going to win. And obviously when it's announced, we're going to see a lot of institutional money come in. So I'm going to try and front run them. Okay, so I jumped into the trade early. As soon as we were watching it live, we were tracking it live. So I said here, you can't waltz in an hour after the trade. It's going to move very fast, and more than likely you will see BTC move in the direction of the winner. Okay, so just like us, a lot of people started to front run it when they connected the states, and they were like, okay, it's likely Kamala's not going to win. A lot of people just started to buy, right? Sometimes when I'm feeling max degen, I'll just trade with the initial BTC move. So again, when Kamala, it was becoming apparent that Kamala has a high chance of losing, we started to see BTC climbing and climbing and climbing. So the price is moving in the decision of the winner. Likewise, if Trump was losing many states, the price would have trickled down, down, down. Okay, probably the easiest trade we ever had, maybe ever in crypto. Okay. As soon as I see it's starting to pump or dump, I may long or short accordingly. A way to place trades fast. Okay, so in this situation, when you have a very low chance of making a loss and you know that the price is going to go up or down fast, it's sometimes good to have multiple trades on different platforms. You don't know how these platforms are going to react. You don't know if they're going to go down, if there's going to be too much trading action. And so I'll have multiple platforms open at the same time. And as soon as I realize, okay, Trump's going to win this election, I'm longing on multiple platforms. Okay, so I've got trades on my phone, trades on my computer, different exchanges. Okay. It's also nice to spread them out on different exchanges as well for liquidity and just managing it in general. I had trades on my phone, trades on a laptop exchanges. So I had multiple open, and then we took the trade. Okay, so here is some of my gains that I posted. So you can see this is my official BingX Smart. You can see my Smart Money Crypto. I've got a partnership with BingX. Long position, took it on 20x. We'll talk about why and the reasons I did. 20x is technically potentially low risk in this scenario. So I've done two different trades. I've done a very large amount of money, which are more than I'd ever normally trade with. Why? Because the odds of making a loss were extremely low, right? If Trump won, hundreds of billions are going to come into Bitcoin. What happens when hundreds of billions come in? The price goes up very fast and by a lot. So I traded with a lot more money than I usually would because this event doesn't happen very often. Just like I did with Elon last cycle, I put a lot more than I usually would on because the odds were in my favor. And here you can see one of my posts. I didn't sell here. I sold a little bit later. But this was at $90,000. This is not including some of my other long positions on altcoins as well. Okay. So $90,000 on BingX at the time that was taken. And I also took a slightly higher leverage. So this one was 41x leverage, double the leverage. Why high leverage? Again, because it was an extremely low risk trade. I had almost a 0% chance of making a loss on this trade. And I used more leverage. This was quite a substantial amount of money again, but more leverage. Substantial to me. You know, $10,000, $5,000 might not be a lot of money to some people, but it was to me at the time. So this, I also didn't take profits here. It was later I started taking profits. I think 94k, 96k. I wish I'd have listened to my own advice because I was ranting on X about taking profit at 100k, which would have returned me $350,000. Okay, so it's not the end of the. I made $200,000 in a month. I'm not going to complain. It helped me buy my property. I'm not going to complain. That was my dream. I realized I'd hit my dream. I just want to get this property out of the way, and you know, I put it into real estate, and I just wanted to get that dream ticked out of the way. I know these opportunities are going to come up again. I've hit both of them. There's been two main dates when this has happened, and I've hit both of them. I'm confident I'm going to hit the next one too, which I'll talk about in this video, by the way. I think it's approaching, and I just wanted to get out of the way. I'm not going to cry. No one went broke taking profits, but I do wish I had held on to 100k because I had so much conviction. I must have posted this 20 times saying TP 100k, TP 100k. And I melted slightly before, like 94k, 96k. I started to DCA out, but again, guys, it's a lot. It was a lot of money to me, right? It's almost $250,000 in a month, and I didn't want to lose that money. And anything can happen in crypto, right? Especially after you have these massive pumps. Down here, a lot lower risk, but come on, we're up here, right? When I was taking profits, and now we're back down to that price actually. Okay, so we have actually come down to the area where I started to take profits anyway. So that's what happened. So let's draw this out just so you know, we can make it clear what happened. So this was the price of BTC. We were coming up to the date where the election was. If Kamala won, the price was going to dump. People were going to sell. It was extremely bearish for crypto. They were going to increase regulations. She was planning to introduce tax laws like taxing unrealized gains. Institutions and a lot of people didn't like that. We might have seen one of the biggest crashes we've ever seen in crypto off the back of that. So if Kamala won, I would have gone short, and I probably would have made the same amount of money, somewhere between $150,000, $300,000 in a month. And if Trump wins, long, which we took, and obviously I made around $200,000. Very easy trade, okay? These happen very rarely. The last time this happened was when Elon Musk brought $2 billion. And the thing with the Elon Musk decision, there was no short option. Okay, so there was no option for you to short if he didn't buy. It was just a random news event. So it's key to be early to these news events. And I literally saw it within the first 5 minutes because I'm tracking the news. I'm constantly looking for new information. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to live streams. You normally get the information quite early. Hey, if you were an hour late, you still would have made a lot. Even if you was 5 hours late, you still would have made a lot of money, but you'll make a lot more if you're fresh to the news, okay? It came out fresh and the price just literally went up vertical, had a little bit of a pullback, carried on going up vertical, okay? So those opportunities happen not very often. And the risks are so low. Now, look, not financial advice. Investing in crypto is highly risky. You can lose all your money investing in crypto. Do your own research. For me, these were no-brainer opportunities to take high leverage long positions, not hold them forever. Get in whilst the hype and the FOMO and the money's flowing in, and then take profits, okay? Now, let's talk about the risk of this. Now, I say next to no risk. What was the downside risks in this situation? We know that Trump was planning to accumulate BTC. He's talked about having it as a strategic reserve. He's talked about firing Gary Gensler. He's talked about implementing bullish, crypto representatives in the SEC. There was maybe 10, 12 things that could potentially send Bitcoin price to a very high amount, right? Even his own son is talking about at events about Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million. This is why this was such a massive event, and why we had so many inflows come in on the day that he won. On the day that he won, the price went from $69,000 in the first week to $80,000. It went the following week from $80,000 to $90,000. Okay, so just in 2 weeks, we went from $69,000 to $90,000. Okay, it was obvious that we were going to have tons and tons of inflows coming in. If I had to speculate, we can't really work out the risks of this, but if we had to speculate, the price crashing off the back of that news. Okay, off the back of the news that we had a president who's good for markets who was very bullish on crypto and was potentially talking about having it as a reserve. We knew that countries were going to front run America, right? We knew that countries were going to. Why would countries sit and wait to accumulate when you know that the president is going to start to implement bullish crypto laws? He's going to sack people in the SEC. Why would you wait? You would just front run America, right? You wouldn't wait for them to buy and then buy afterwards. Okay, so we knew that this was going to be front run, or we knew. We guessed that it was going to be very bullish, very fast, right? If I had to guess, I would say the chances of this crashing on a Trump victory must be less than 1%. That's just me. That's my experience in the space. That's how long I've been. How long I've been in crypto, studying inflation, the macro. I pretty much listen to everything that Trump said. I know he's in bed with BlackRock. There was less than a 1% chance, in my opinion, guys. That's just my opinion. With the Elon trade, maybe more. How with the Elon trade, who knew it was going to double in price in a very short amount of time? Elon trade, I expected it to go up very fast by a lot, but not by 100%. Okay, not to double in price. The risks on the Elon trade of making a loss, maybe 5%. That's just me speculating. There's probably a 5% chance of making a loss. This trade was a lot easier. And so my chances are 99% of winning on this particular decision. I did mention in the actual post, I did mention on the post on Discord that I think if Trump wins, I think we'll have a higher rally than we will if Kamala crashes. I believe, don't quote me on that. Because we had a lot of institutional interest anyway, right? I still thought it was going to crash a lot if Kamala won, but just not the same as the rally we were going to have off the back of a Trump victory. So my odds of losing the trade, 1%, maybe less. Maybe it's even 0%, because we knew hundreds of billions were going to come in. There is some sort of percentage of risk there, maybe 0.01% or something. My odds of winning this trade are extremely high. What are the actions I'm going to take? Okay, I'm going to be all over this like a fly. I'm going to be watching the news in real time. How can we figure out, right, if she starts to lose states, we're going to be able to get in early. We're going to be able to see the news on chain. We're going to be tracking smart money. Okay, so I'm going to be all over the event. I'm not going to sit around and wait for a notification. I'm going to even take a day off work to analyze and make sure I'm on the ball with this event. Okay, because this is a moment in time where I can change my life forever. I'm going to be making this my priority over everything else. Even the run up to the event, I want to know I want to see the conferences. How many times has he mentioned BTC? Has he talked about policies that he's going to integrate? I'm going to be the expert on this event, on this situation. That's the first thing. Because don't forget, I made 200K and in a month. If I had have placed 200K, I would have made multiple millions, which I could have placed a 200K trade, right? I would have made multiple millions. Who knows, maybe on the next event, I will go absolute degen and put on a 100K trade or a 200K trade. So my chances of losing are very low. I'm going to increase my position size, okay? So I put 20 times more than I usually would on a trade. 20x times more than I usually would. Very degen. If I lost that trade, would it kill me? No. It's not going to kill me. I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be angry. It's quite a bit of my portfolio, but it's not going to kill me. Okay. So I'm putting myself in a position where I'm not going to ruin myself. I'm not going to ruin my whole portfolio with this amount that I'm trading, but it is going to be 20x times more. So it's going to be a substantial amount of my portfolio that I lose if I lose this trade. Okay. Because I'm super confident and the risks are very low of losing. So that's the first thing I've done is increase. Second is I increase the leverage. So by trading with more leverage means I can make more money. Okay, so if I'm trading with 1K and I use 20x leverage, I can only lose my 1K that I initially invested, but I'm actually trading with 20K because the exchange has given me an extra 19K to trade with. And the exchange has said, hey, if you're right, good luck to you. We'll give you 20x what you're trading with. If you're wrong, you're going to get liquidated very fast. Okay, so if you bet Trump's going to go up and it actually crashes, you're going to lose your 1K. Okay, so if I had have placed a 1K bet on 20x leverage, I would have made, I don't know, you could have made 15, 20K, maybe a bit more. Okay, so I could only risk losing 1K, but I could have made 20 to 30K. No brainer for me. So this would have been me last cycle. Okay, when I didn't have the gains that I have now, I would have maybe put 1 to 2K, which would have been a lot more at the time. Wouldn't have ruined me, you know, it's only a small amount still if my portfolio last cycle, but it would have been enough to be like, oh man, I lost 3K, I'm not happy about that. Okay, so you know, 1 to 2K last cycle, my target would have been 20 to 30K, and then again 20K this cycle. My target is 200K. Next cycle, in cycles, you know you want to be going up 10x each cycle, right? Next cycle, I'll put on 200K, and hey, it's a no-brainer trade. If Michael Saylor sells Bitcoin, I'm going to short, and then I'll be trying to make 2 million in a month. Okay, so these are the trades that I was taking. Those are the risks. So I used more amounts of money and I used more leverage because of the situation. So absolute no-brainer, completely rallied, and we are seeing a bit of a cool down. Usually after these rallies, guys, you do get these cool down events. Now, this is hopefully going to happen again, okay? Hopefully there's going to be an event where it's an absolute no-brainer, where the price will either crash or pump extremely fast. One of those days is going to be, in my opinion, Michael Saylor selling, okay, which he said he's never going to do, guys. So just bear in mind that this is not guaranteed to ever happen ever. But I'm ready for this day, okay? I'm ready for this day. If I ever see that Michael Saylor has sold any crypto after he said he's never going to sell, after he's only bought, it's gonna scare the life out of the market. It's going to scare the life out of all the whales, especially the biggest holders. They're going to DCA out and they're going to take profits. Maybe they're bullish on crypto long term. They know that everybody is going to be a little bit worried and to take some profits off the table, so they try to front run each other. Even the whales who plan to buy back, they're like, hey, we might see a 50% crash off this Michael Saylor sell. I'm going to sell all and I'm going to buy back slightly cheaper. I'm going to dollar cost average back in cheaper or whatever. that's going to be a day where I take, again, another ridiculously large trade on high leverage short. The problem with that trade, there's another trade coming up I'm going to talk about. The problem with that trade is it's going to be unexpected. It's going to be random. Okay, it's going to be public very fast. People who are tracking all of the transactions. It's going to be public. You're going to see Bitcoin crash before you see the news. It's not going to be as easy the Trump trade. The Trump trade was pretty much free money, okay? And you had prior warning to the event happening. So you could build a strategy and a plan. Those situations don't come very often, okay? Normally with elections, they can come, but not like this, not this extreme. It's going to come at random. So when you see BTC, before you even hear the news, you're probably going to see BTC dump by a lot first. And when I say a lot, maybe a few percent, okay? You're going to get some sort of relief rally. People don't know what's going on. The news comes out, and then you're going to get an absolute drastic sell-off very, very fast, okay? So the one with this is you're going to have to try and find out the news as soon as possible. And as soon as you see the news, you're going to have to take action, or I'm going to take action. I can't tell you guys what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just what I'm doing. These are just my strategies. Okay, so as soon as I see this, I'm going to take action. Are you going to get the relief rally? Who knows? Hey, maybe the news comes out and it just does this. Okay, it's going to be a little bit harder to trade. We don't know if it's going to happen first of all, but it's going to be very hard to trade. Okay, so I would probably enter shorts here. We got a relief rally. My shorts hit stop loss. I'm going to enter more shorts here, because I'm confident that eventually it's going to come down. They might try and hit some stops, but I think it's going to come down. Okay, so that's one of the trades. Something I didn't forget to mention on the Trump trade is that if you do take this high leverage position, so let's say I put 20k on this cycle for this Trump trade. I also had a stop loss. Okay, so when you're trading, you can set a stop loss. My stop loss was around 50%, which meant that if I was wrong, let's say Trump won and everybody went short. Everybody sold for some random reason. All the exchanges tried to liquidate everybody. Very hard for the exchanges to liquidate everybody because there's so many inflows of money. There's billions of dollars coming in all of a sudden, right? So it's very hard for them to counteract that sell pressure. They can try, but very hard. So I had a 50% stop loss anyway. So even though I risked 20k, I could have only lost 10k, okay, if the price went down. The price would have had to gone down a lot to hit my stop loss, okay? On a Trump victory, very unlikely. So if you were trading with 1k and you set a 50% stop loss, you were only risking $500 at the time. So you could only lost 500, but you could have made 10, 15, 20,000, okay? So with a stop loss, some people would choose not to have a stop loss just in case it's volatile. They don't want to miss this, okay? So it might be like, people selling, people buying. Some people just let it get liquidated. So they just let their 1k get liquidated. No risk, no Lambo, right? It's not a risk-free trade. There is always going to be an element of risk. It's about working out what's the risk. Okay, it's maybe less than 5%, maybe it's less than 1%. Okay, so here I'm able to allocate more. I'm able to take more leverage. It's a once in a 4-year opportunity. I think I'm pretty confident on the outcome of this. Nobody's planning to sell when the whole country's about to flip bullish on crypto. No brainer. Okay. The next trade that potentially might be coming up very soon is the Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. Okay, so this is a very tricky one because we've got to try and work out when this is going to happen and how it's going to happen and the amount that's going to happen. Okay, the other problem is BTC is not in an easy place to long right now. Right, it's not breaking out. It's not in a downtrend. It's in an uptrend, so we could see huge sell pressure, huge buy pressure over the next few months or so. Okay, so how is this going to play out? Well, the price is sitting up here like this right now. It's having a little bit of a pullback. We don't know if BTC is going to move naturally down like this or whether it's going to rally up like this. Okay, so we're really in no man's land, which makes it very, very hard to trade. The indicators suggest that we are going to have a cool down, and usually after a rally to the upside, you do see a cool down period. So it makes sense that we're going to have a little bit of a cool down period. But Saylor keeps buying billions of dollars every month, so nobody knows, right? So how are we going to trade? How am I going to trade this strategic reserve? So Trump's inauguration is on the 21st, so we've got 10 days to think about this and think about this potential trade. Now, his inauguration is on the 21st, 10 days, and he's going to be talking about a lot of things, and we imagine that one of those things is going to be Bitcoin, right? He's talked about Bitcoin being an option for getting the country out of debt. We know that him and Elon have formed DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which is about tackling the debt solution. And I think Bitcoin is going to be one of those things they talk about. Now, don't forget, Elon holds a lot of Bitcoin. Vivek holds a lot of Bitcoin. A lot of the people inside the government that are pro-Trump hold a lot of Bitcoin. BlackRock hold a lot of Bitcoin. There's a lot of people who are going to benefit off a Bitcoin strategic reserve. They've talked about it quite a lot. We might see the Democrats sell all of the current Bitcoin, which means Trump would have even more incentive to say, up yours, we're actually going to buy the Bitcoin back. So we'll see if they sell. The last thing the Democrats want is to have all of this Bitcoin that Trump comes in and manages to rally and didn't even have to buy anything, right? And that Bitcoin's going to be worth a lot of money, especially if they start adding to it. If they accumulate, so if America put 2% into Bitcoin, this is quite a lot. It doesn't sound like a lot, but let's say they put 2% into Bitcoin. Because of the scarcity, because of what the asset is, there's only a certain supply. Bitcoin would be around $600,000 to $800,000 per token. This is just if the America put 2% or around 2% into BTC. These numbers sound insane, I know. Okay, because Bitcoin is currently 94,000. That would put it on a 6 to an 8x from where we are today. If they put 2% into BTC, and I took a long position with 20k on the announcement, and we see Bitcoin, let's say the event happens, okay, let's say Bitcoin just absolutely goes parabolic, because people can't fathom this right now, right? A lot of people have already sold their Bitcoin. A lot of maxis are up huge amounts. They've already sold it. People can't fathom these kind of moves, right? You wouldn't even be able to see the chart properly. This is how much of an increase it would be. You wouldn't even be able to see the chart properly, okay? People would be looking back thinking, what was I thinking? I was bearish at 94k, we're at 600k, okay? Now, there's lots of different moving parts to this, so sorry the video is going to be long, guys, but it's important if you're thinking about looking at this for a potential trade, it's important to understand all the ins and outs of this opportunity. As you've just seen, guys, I've just done this. I just made 200k and bought a property. You know, it's not a pipe dream. These things happen, okay? So Bitcoin would already be 600 to 800k from that purchase. Now, that's not going to happen instantly. Why? Because this is they're probably going to purchase over time. They're probably not just going to ape all in at once. Maybe they do, because if you know the price is going to be 600 to 800k after you put in 2%, why are you going to slowly DCA it? Okay, because you are going to be buying prices at 600k and 800k. Why wouldn't you aggressively buy whilst it's under 100k? Okay, so why would you do a 2% over 5 years? Because lots of countries are going to buy Bitcoin once you announce that you're going to put 2% in. So it might be a very fast initial buy, because you don't want to be buying at higher prices like this, right? It's only a great play because Bitcoin's under 100k right now. Is it such a discount at 500k? Absolutely not, right? It's going to be 5x the price. So your initial buy would make sense to be very big, right? A very big initial buy, and then a DCA strategy over time. But you wouldn't really want a DCA over 5 years or so. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. But I think your initial buy is going to be big, and I think you're going to have a reasonably small DCA period to accumulate your 2%. So maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years. Secondly, what happens after you announce that you're going to buy Bitcoin? Nobody wants to sell their Bitcoin, right? Nobody's going to want to give up their Bitcoin after the America announced that they plan to have it as a strategic reserve and they plan to accumulate over the next 5 or 10 years. Nobody wants to. Who's going to sell, right? when you know you've got hundreds of billions or trillions coming into BTC, who's going to sell their Bitcoin? I would buy so much at this, even at this price, okay? Because I know it's pretty much a no-brainer 10x. So they're going to have a very difficult time accumulating. What happens when you have a supply shock? Nobody wants to sell. The value goes up so fast. There's no Bitcoin to buy, right? Exchanges start to run out of Bitcoin. Exchanges start having to buy it off other exchanges, and they start trying to have to buy it OTC, and exchanges could eventually run out of Bitcoin technically, okay? Then what happens when the exchanges run out is PvP, right? When the exchanges start to get very low, nobody is selling their BTC. So you're going to have a massive supply shock. Then you're going to have all of these countries, right? All of these countries go to their meeting rooms, go to their boardrooms, right? America are accumulating Bitcoin. We can't let them own most of this asset. We can't let BlackRock, Fidelity, all these American companies have such large amounts of supply of Bitcoin. It's a currency that was used in Ukraine when all the power went down, when everything went down. Ukraine was saying, send us Bitcoin. We can't wait for remittances. We can't sit and wait for the banks to open over the weekend. We need money now. And they created a Bitcoin wallet, and everybody in the single world, in the whole world, was able to send them Bitcoin at that exact moment within a few minutes, right? And they realized, wow, this is such a powerful tool in times of war, especially. So it almost becomes a threat against national security, letting one country own this new limited amount asset that's never going to be mined. It's not like gold, it's not like gold, and you see these countries like China just found trillions of dollars of gold. It's not like gold where, we just found more gold. Okay, well then, that the price is slightly going to depreciate because there's more of the asset on the market. Okay, it becomes inflationary, right? If there is more gold that you can find, you're not going to find more Bitcoin on an asteroid, right? They just found loads of Bitcoin on an asteroid. They're planning to go out. Believe it or not, this is not science fiction. They're actually planning to go out and mine this gold via rockets on this and bring this back, which is one of the worst decisions, because by the time you bring it back, the price is going to have gone down, right? People are going to be watching the mission. All right, they've just got $1 trillion of gold from this rock that potentially has more gold than we've ever seen in our lives. How many more rocks are out there with more gold? How it's going to become cheaper and easier to mine this gold from asteroids, right? There might be an infinite amount of rocks out there with gold on that come into our solar system that we go and mine. Maybe we manage to pull all of the gold out. It really brings the price and the value down, right? Bitcoin doesn't have this. There's 21 million tokens. There's not enough Bitcoin for every millionaire in the world to own one Bitcoin. So if every millionaire decided they wanted a Bitcoin, there is not enough to buy, okay? So countries have so many different reasons why they need to have this on their strategic reserve. You can't go and have one potential competitor, because a lot of countries are competing against each other, with China, Russia owning this asset. So you will see huge inflows. So this 2% taking us to 600 to 800k is just America. It doesn't factor in the institutions buying, the funds buying, retail buying, countries buying. Okay, it's going to be absolutely insane, and I think it's potentially going to be easier than the trade that we just had with the election, with the 1% chance of losing. The problem is there might be a lot of talk about it happening. Okay, so if Trump on the inauguration says we are going to accumulate 2% of BTC, the price is going to pump, right? Price is going to pump by a lot because he's now the acting president. He's saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that, but he's still talking. These aren't things that have been implemented. Whereas the election, he won the election. It'd been implemented. We could long it, right? We knew that he was in. There was going to be no kickback from that. He wasn't going to suddenly lose that election unless they'd gone down the fraud avenue. But it's not going to happen, right? So that had happened. If he comes on the inauguration and says, we might get a pump, but we don't know how many inflows are going to come in. We don't know. Like here, it was obvious hundreds of billions were going to flow in. Maybe even trillions were going to flow into BTC on a Trump victory. If he comes out and says he's going to do this, we don't know if the pump is going to be 5%, 20%, 60%, okay? Which increases our risks on this trade. The risks are not less than 1%, okay? We don't know. But one thing we do know is that this could potentially be signed off as a document and approved in Congress. This might get signed off. On the day that that gets signed off, there's going to be a massive rally. Okay, so there's two events here to trade. There's the inauguration. What's he going to say at the inauguration? We'll watch it. We'll be watching it live, guys, so we can track all the latest. There's definitely going to be a trade opportunity there. He's probably going to talk about BTC. Is he going to say we're going to accumulate 2% for the strategic reserve and I will make it happen? Then we might get quite a big rally. But we also might get a rally and then they try to liquidate us as well, right? We might get a pullback. So it's not a no-brainer trade. On the date that is approved and signed off, I think that's going to be the easier trade. Okay, once it's confirmed, because a lot of smart money and institutions and funds and countries who haven't joined yet or aped in yet, they don't like to place big bets on speculation. They like to place big bets on certainty. And that is the date that it will be certain. Once that document is signed, and we know that BTC is going to, America is going to accumulate 2% of BTC. That on that day, we know that the value is roughly going to be 600 plus K. Okay, a 6x, and institutions and funds will be looking at that, going, guys, this is a free 6x. It's probably the easiest 6x we're ever going to have. And not only that, that's just America's income, right? It's probably going to go to $1 million, which makes it a 10x from where we are today. Maybe that's over 4 years, and a lot of people don't get excited about a 10x over 4 years, but when the risks are extremely low, a lot of big money do get excited about making a 10x over 4 years. Okay, so we'll see. I think we'll see huge inflows. We're also in a bull run, which makes it a little bit spicier because we know that people take profits in a bear market. So it's not as easy as the Trump trade, but that's the next event that I think sailor selling is going to be insane. I think Bitcoin's price will probably come down 50% on the night he sells. Not immediately, but over some weeks or months. So especially if he sells this year in a rally in the bull run, right towards the end of the bull run, especially if he sold then, I think we'd be down over 50% in a very short amount of time, which would make it a life-changing short. So yeah, that's the next play I'm looking at, the strategic reserve. So I'm going to be paying close attention to the inauguration. I'm definitely going to trade it. And I'm going to be watching closely for that bill. We want to see that BTC bill passed as a rule, and also what other bills come out. Okay, there might be loads of other laws and bills come out that are very extremely bullish for crypto. We might see the SEC completely switch stance. Maybe they introduce no capital gains tax on BTC. Maybe there's a long list of things they do, which makes the inauguration a very important date, because if we do get that really bullish news on the inauguration, we know that there's going to be a flood of more news coming from the SEC, the laws, maybe tax regulations on crypto. So if it starts off bullish, it's a pretty good long to hold all the way into the bull run, in my opinion. It's probably what I'm going to do. Other events, they come and go, right? I'm going to keep an eye out for these events. The last one, I think, was Elon Musk. This one was a no-brainer. Sorry, BlackRock was a good one as well. So BlackRock actually getting the ETF approved. We did take some long positions on that. It wasn't as low risk as the election. I think we took some longs. We bought a lot of crypto too, right? I think it was around 40k. See, when BlackRock got the ETF approved here, I believe it was here, they had it approved, or they applied for an ETF. We had a massive rally off the back of that. Look at that, week after week after week after week. So that was another opportunity to make life-changing money in one single trade. In one trade, really up your game, because even if you put $1,000 in here and you make 20k, that 20k can really change your life in terms of investing, because that gives you more money to place on this trade, right? You place another trade here, here on the Trump victory, maybe it's a 5k trade, bang, you've made yourself 50, 70k in a very short amount of time. Then you are ready to play your next 5k, 10k, 15k, 20k bet on the next big event, right? This is why some people only trade these massive events, and for good reason, right? For good reason. The odds are so low of losing and the odds of winning are so high. They come around very often. I just wanted to get you guys prepared for, well, what I speculate is going to happen over the next year or so. If you've got any suggestions on events that might change the game, both to the upside and downside, drop them in the comments below, and I can sort of look into it as potential trade opportunities. But I'm definitely going to make sure it's 10 days till the inauguration, so I'm definitely going to be prepared for that. And I'm going to take a big long as soon as we hear anything that's to do with the plans for accumulating BTC as a strategic reserve. Maybe he comes out and does something in the background and then announces it on the inauguration. That would be interesting. That would be an amazing trade. That's it for now, guys. Don't forget, if you want to jump in and get involved with us, there's a free Discord link below, so you can click that to jump in the Discord. If you want to level up, there's more information in there about the Discord, about how to see all this alpha. Until then, I will catch you guys in the next one.